2 weeks ago, I went to watch Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Infinity Castle, and in this video I wanted to share with you all of my thoughts, especially some thoughts that are regarding some spoiler scenes. So I will tell you when I'm starting telling you something spoiler. So if you don't want to watch the video and you can't wait to watch the movie, that I think it's coming out in September all around the world, feel free to skip the video. What I want to say is that this movie impressed me a lot. The reason why it did so, it's because I went to watch it IMAX, and I think that if you're gonna watch this movie, you should go and watch it IMAX, because the experience is totally different. It's more intense. It's like as if you're diving into this experience together with all the other characters. So that's my first main suggestion. And second of all, I think that UFO Table surpassed its own level, its own standard level, because I think that with this movie, their quality became higher and higher. And that's why when I made that short after watching the movie, you can find it on the channel, I used one simple word that is unbeatable, because I think that for this movie and for this first movie of this last trilogy regarding Kimetsu no Yaiba, their standard was overcoming and they surpassed everything they did so far. By saying this, yeah, I wanted to repeat myself. If you have to go and watch this movie, please watch it IMAX, because thanks to that you will feel this movie more. Absolutely. I wanted to start my analysis by praising UFO Table, as I was mentioning to you before, because this studio was showing us that the more they go on, the more the years are passing, the more the quality increases. And I think that it's a thanks to this studio that Demon Slayer became such an icon as for an anime. I definitely think that even the intro of this movie, in which it's written a UFO Table movie, gives you the vibes of, oh, okay, I'm ready to start joining this final adventure. Yeah, let me be honest, I can't believe we are reaching the end of Demon Slayer. Even if I didn't post anything on the channel regarding this anime, I've watched everything. I mean, after the second season, that you can find the reaction videos on the channel, I watched season 3, season 4, and that's why I was ready to watch this movie. Yeah, even if you didn't see anything, that doesn't mean that I didn't watch it, of course. As much as I was telling you yesterday with the video regarding the Sayonara, I decided to take a break, but that doesn't mean that I didn't watch any anime. And that's why I think that I will post other videos in which I'm telling you my thoughts about them. From now on, I think that I'm starting telling you something spoiler, in the case you didn't read the manga, in the case you were not in Japan and you were not watching the movie. By the way, I feel sorry for all the people who watched the movie without going at the cinema or without waiting the official releasing date abroad. That's not correct. I think you should pay respect to this studio who worked a lot to give you a final product that deserves everything. You should wait the releasing date and go to the cinema and enjoy that experience as much as it should be. By the way, from now on, I'm giving you some spoiler details, so if you want to stop watching this video, please feel free to do so, and maybe come back one day after you watch it to share your opinions or to tell me what you think about this movie. There were some moments in which I felt very emotional. three moments in particular that I'm going to tell you later, because I'm not going to follow any sort of a schedule. I don't follow a specific list of things that I noted. I just go random. I want to start by saying that the way in which Ufotable described this infinity castle, that the name says it all already. I mean, it's infinite, so you don't have the perception of it. The beginning and the end of it was simply great, because as I was telling you, when you watch it IMAX, you dive into this castle together with all the characters, and it definitely seems as if you are joining the characters in this castle. And the way they represented it was great. I think that they made it so beautifully represented. That's something awesome. You will see when you will watch the movie for sure. But my experience was like, okay, wow, I've never thought it's that big, and I've never thought that they could represent these infinite feeling of never-ending thing. So that was so amazing. Another good thing that I have to announce you is that usually when you watch Demon Slayer, there is always going back with the story in which they summarize what happened so far. In this movie, I was happy to see that there was not any sort of summary or any sort of going back to the previous seasons to summarize everything and show that to you. No, the movie was starting as it was, and I think that was the best choice, because usually we were used to waste the first 20-30 minutes with all these throwing back and all these previous explanations about everything. No, in this movie it doesn't happen, and I think that that was the best choice, also because they don't have enough time otherwise to finish everything they needed to narrate. So I was very happy to notice that. I think that one great loss in this movie was Shinobu. I have never expected that Shinobu was going to leave us like that, but I wanted to praise that character, because in this movie she's confirming how firm and how strong she was till the end, till the last breath. She was confronting the upper two of the Oni. This choice of the author to put Shinobu against these super strong Oni, because the upper two is even stronger than Akaza, so who's gonna try to defeat the upper two? And the first candidate was Shinobu, but I understand the reason why she was chosen, because the upper two is always involved with the women and he likes to eat women. It was very nice to see that Shinobu could contrast him firmly and strongly and powerfully. She was very determined and she showed all her best. I really liked the moment in which she felt discouraged and the memory of her sister came back to save her or to encourage her to do her best, no matter if she cries, no matter if the moment is dramatic. How she could find the strength back again. That was very intense. And even the moment in which she knows that she's losing for real, and the upper two is asking her, what are your last words before dying? And she's saying, let's meet in hell, or something like that. That was very iconic. Because she knew that that was her last moments, and no matter if they were the last moments or not, she was ready to reply in the proper way, by showing that she's not afraid of dying as much as she could have been before, thanks to her sister's presence, I think that that moment could definitely show us the beauty of Shinobu, not just as a Hashira, but even as a person, and how determined she turned out to be after what happened in her life. After her parents died because of Oni, and the will to protect even Kanao and all the other girls who were together with her in this path of destroying Oni, of defeating all the Oni possible together with the Muzan. So, yeah, I think that that was a very nice way to end her life by showing these. And at the same time, yeah, I felt sorry because I would have never expected that that character would have not reached the end, you know. I've never thought of missing the Ashira already from the first movie. Maybe I thought, man, maybe the next movie or the final movie someone is gonna die, you know. But I've never thought about her, sincerely. So I felt a little bit emotional, yeah, when she left. And immediately after, you see that Kanao jumps in this situation and she is releasing all her anger and whatever. But let me be honest, I've never read Demon Slayer's manga, so I don't know how it ends. But I don't think that Kanao will survive either if she stays by herself over there. I really hope that someone else is coming to try to help her in these, because the upper two is very, very strong. And we could have had even the chance to see a little bit of the upper two's background story, and it was very interesting because most of the times in Demon Slayer you see that even Oni have a background story, and you are definitely getting in touch with the other side of the story. I mean, their side of the story. And it's very interesting to know why they became Oni, or what was the purpose of doing so. That's the great thing that I really liked about this story. No matter the fact that Demon Slayer is a mixture of all seen things, of all past stories, seeing things. But yeah, I think that this is one of the greatness of this story, the fact that you have the chance to not just feel in touch with Tanjiro and all the others' perspectives, but also on the side of the enemies. That's very, very, very helpful for us to understand all the contexts before judging, let's say. Another thing that I liked in this movie is that Tanjiro is the last one. I mean, Tanjiro is not appearing from the beginning. I mean, sometimes, yeah, he appears together with Gyu, because they found themselves inside this infinity castle and they have to join it together. But what I'm saying is that they didn't start by showing Tanjiro's power, by showing him in action, or by giving him the priority. Yeah, of all these. No, in this case, Tanjiro is showing us everything at the end of the movie. And I appreciated that, because I don't like when you see that the main character is always having the priority and all the other characters come after. I liked that in this movie everything was turned upside down. That means first we see other characters and then we go back to the main one. I appreciated that sincerely. And in fact, the next character I felt definitely in love with in this movie is Zenitsu. I really loved the fact that we could see him in action and we could see how strong he became. From the previous season, we understand that Zenitsu received a bad news. We don't understand what this bad news is, but fortunately in this movie everything is conveyed to us. I mean, the message of what happened to him was understandable, and we understood that Ji-Jiang, I mean, his grandpa died, and he was not there with him. Nobody was there with him. He was by himself, and he died in the most tragical way. The feel of remorse that he feels for not being there to save him, for not letting him be alone in all that, makes Zenitsu release this strong power that never happened before. And Unfortunately, Zenitsu needs to release all this power while he's confronting his older brother. I mean, these Aniki, that was a part of his clan at the beginning, but then he decided to leave and to become an Oni. And in fact, you see this dialogue between the two. It's like an escalation. Okay, all the atmosphere becomes that cold, but I really liked the contrast of coldness and warmth, because the Oni, of course, is very cold. He doesn't perceive any feelings anymore, while Zenitsu is so warm that he can try to dig this little hole inside his disappeared heart, and to try to communicate with him. I think the calmness that Zenitsu had and this sight that he had while looking at him was so impressive. Usually we know Zenitsu for his comical side, for letting us laugh about the certain situations that are happening in Demon Slayer, but I like the fact that since he's coming inside this Infinity Castle, and after he heard about this bad news, he's turning into someone who we have never seen before. And that's so amazing, because this time, in order to release this power, he doesn't need to sleep anymore. He's always awake, and this seriousness that he has in his eyes, on his face, made me shake my heart. I was so happy. I was so glad to see his evolution in these 20 minutes of battle. That was so impressive. I really liked that moment, and in fact, after he's also mocked by these Aniki, and after Aniki says to him that he doesn't have any strength, that he can't do anything, that yeah, what do you want to prove to me? I mean, the usual statements that make you become angry, you know. But Zenitsu was very calm, and he was so direct. He was replying to him as if he couldn't even being touched by his words. Wow, that was very incredible. And then, yeah, when he reached his limit, finally Zenitsu releases the Shichi Kata. I don't know how to translate it in English, because I've always watched the Demon Slayer in Japanese. So, the seventh form, okay, of Kaminari no Kokyu. That scene was incredible, because there were times in which you couldn't even follow with your own eyes what you were seeing, because the speed was increasing more and more, and the seventh form was leaving me speechless. That was a great scene. Absolutely. I recommend you to watch this movie in IMAX. But yeah, you will feel what the characters are feeling in those moments. Absolutely. Yeah, third of all, the Akaza's background story, and the way in which Akaza is recognizing in Tanjiro his previous master, the one who trained him after he was left aside by society, after he was living in a poor condition. Let's say that all the Akaza and the Tanjiro and Gyu's battle is very well described, and I'm very glad to say that Tanjiro was not the only one trying to defeat Akaza. I mean, usually you see the main character who finds this great strength when he is put on the edge of everything, you know. But in this case, without Gyu, Tanjiro couldn't reach where he reached. And I was happy for that, because that means that if they have to defeat Muzan, they have to defeat it all together and not just the main protagonist who is powering up, and then he's going to defeat the main enemy. I like the fact that in this case they all are drowned inside the Infinity Castle. That means that they all have to cooperate in different areas of this Infinity Castle to maintain this equilibrium, to reach Muzan as much as they can. And I have to say, before going on with Akaza and everything, that a great applause is for the son of the father of all Ashira. I really liked the fact that he left this testament, let's say, to the new generation, to his kids. And you see that this son is creating the map of all the Infinity Castle. I mean, he's trying, thanks to the cross, to depict this huge and infinite map in order to find Muzan, in order to see where he is, to detect him somehow. Because once they detect him, they can reach him and they try to defeat him, and no matter how many Oni they can find throughout all these Infinity Castle, that they are quite a lot, but everyone is trying. In the meantime, there are these huge fights. That means Shinobu's fight, Zenitsu's fight, and Akaza's fight. You are seeing that all the others are busy trying to defeat these minor Oni that they find here and there. I think that that's great, because it makes you understand that all the cooperation matters and not just one individual can do everything. I definitely appreciated this choice. But going back to Akaza, I think that his background story was very intense, and it took almost 30 minutes of the movie, I think, in which they could give you a clear explanation of how Akaza is and how Akaza decided to be who he turned to be. Basically, he wished for happiness. I mean, he was pursuing happiness all the time, and more than becoming strong, he wanted to become strong in order to find happiness because of everything that happened in his life since the beginning, until he found love, and then he was accepted by this master to be trained and to work over there where the master was, and to be entitled to become the principal of that dojo where he was training together with him, and he also could marry, I think, the daughter of this master, who has always had poor health as much as Akaza's father. So every time Akaza had to face this difficulty to handle the loss of dear people, and he wanted to do his best to stop all these, to be sure that he could save them, no matter if they were killed or they were dying because of a poor health and whatever. He wanted to be strong, because for him the real happiness was to have all these people around him. But of course he made the wrong choice the moment in which he joined the Muzan. But actually, when he joined the Muzan, he turned to be evil, yeah, let's say. But at the same time, I think that a little part of his heart was still there. It was something different than all the other Oni. And in fact, these will connect to what I will tell you later. The way in which Akaza left, I mean, the way in which Akaza died as an Oni, disappeared as an Oni. I really believe that Akaza's background story showed you something a little bit different this time, and I appreciated that, because otherwise you always see that that people have a problem and they turn into an Oni because they can't stand their previous life and they always wanted to be strong only, they don't have any other purpose. But in Akasa's case, he tried to become stronger, stronger and stronger, but the main thing he wanted to reach was not the strength or power, but it was happiness through power. So I really liked this little difference because it makes a great difference if you think about it. Yeah, I like the way in which Akaza could find Tanjiro, in Tanjiro, this master that helped him to stand up again. Yeah, at the beginning he wanted to avoid this memory while looking at Tanjiro, but then he couldn't because the memories are stronger than his own will to reject them, you know. I like the intensity of that moment because now I even understand why he wanted to try to ask Rengoku-san to join him, and he saw that Rengoku-san was declining his invitation, I mean his proposal to join Oni. He saw even in Rengoku-san the strength, the mental strength to oppose to something that doesn't bring you happiness but brings you unluck. And in fact, Rengoku-san was always smiling, was always happy to do what he was doing. While Akaza lost the happiness little by little, time after time. And that's why you can see the challenge that he found while confronting Rengoku and asking him to join. Come on, join. And he saw how strong Rengoku-san's reply was. No, I don't need to join. I'm happy as much as I am right now, so I don't need more power because I'm happy already. And that's the limit that Akaza couldn't overcome since the beginning and till the end, you know. I have to say that all these makes you understand that Rengoku-san is still a great and important character in this story, no matter if he left after the Mugen Resha, the Infinity Train. Those are the type of characters that even if they leave earlier than usual, they still be important to the all characters left. They leave a sort of legacy, and we know this also because Tanjiro has a part of him in the new sword, in the new katana that he's using. And all the references to Rengoku-san through the movie makes you understand that for many people, Rengoku-san is one of the favorite characters of this story. They use these characters still to see how he could impress other characters, how he could inspire other characters left, and that's great, that's awesome. But let me say that Tanjiro is stimulated by Akaza's word because these words are very intense and they keep mocking the one who left already. And you know that when the Oni are mocking Rengoku-san's death, he becomes very angry, as much as many other main characters of other stories. The more you are provoked and the more you react, you know. I think that Akaza could see in Tanjiro not only the master who helped him throughout his life, but even Rengoku-san. He could see both in him, and he could realize, oh, look, it's like as if Tanjiro plays the role of the awakening boy, because he's always awaking inside these Oni's lost heart, the lost heart. And so he's always there to tell them, wake up. Look, I am the light of hope. I am the light of happiness in tragedy too. So even if many tragedies happened, you always have a chance to stand up because you're surrounded by other people who can help you in all these. But let me tell you one thing. In all this story, and that's the third emotional moment for me. Tanjiro was not helped just by the Hashira, not by Zenitsu, Inosuke only, Murata and all the others. Murata, good job, because he is also in the Infinity Castle and he is doing a great job defending Zenitsu while Zenitsu is resting. And yes, sorry, before I forget, the second time in which I felt emotional or I cried is that after the Shichinokata of Zenitsu, he could see, when he lost the consciousness, he could see Jijan, he could see Grandpa one more time on the other side of the river. That is the most common metaphor of people who died and people who are still alive. Jijan, who is saying that he's very proud of Zenitsu. Made me cry. If I think about it right now, I'm crying still, because when we talk about death, when we talk about these final moments, I always cry, no matter who he is or who she is or who they are. I really feel these words. I don't know how to explain you better than this, but the way Zenitsu, after those words, could rest, because he understood that he got the approval of his grandpa somehow, of what he did, no matter if he left him alone, because he had to join the Kisatsutai. So I really, really felt those words, and they were so powerful. But going back with what I was saying before, I was telling you that Tanjiro has just one person who can disclose everything, who can disclose his power, who can disclose his memories, who can disclose all the open gates of all the inner self that he has. His father. That's the other moment in which I cried a little bit, because every time Tanjiro's father comes back to Tanjiro's memories, when he's so helpless, makes me want to cry. That man made him so strong. And even in this case, the way in which he's defeating Akaza, yes, of course, is also thanks to Giyu, because he is there with him and he's giving him a break to regain strength while he feels powerless, etc., etc. And there is this combination of a fight that is like never ending. It seems never ending, like the Infinity Castle itself. But the moment in which Tanjiro remembers what his father told him, to develop this way to fight without being noticed, without being heard, left me very surprised, because that makes you understand that Tanjiro's father had lots of resources, had lots of ways to be strong, even if he didn't seem so. I mean, even if his health was a little bit poor, and you see in this cameo that he's still explaining about the Hinokami Kagura and all these Hinokami Kagura dance and everything. But when he's teaching Tanjiro how to not let the enemy feel that he is there, even if he is there, because Akaza could feel that he was there thanks to his presence. A way to delete your presence even if you're there. Wow, I loved it so much. And when he is advancing little by little behind Akaza without being noticed, and then when he's behind his back, while Giyu is on the other side and he's looking at him and he's thinking, oh, wow, he could make it, he could reach him without being noticed. Suddenly Tanjiro is screaming behind his back saying, Akaza, I'm going to cut your neck now! And Akaza didn't even realize that he was behind him. And wow, the way in which he is cutting the head of Akaza is majestic, super great. But then they realize, of course, that Akaza is not dead, because of this strong will to survive and to become strong in order to reach happiness. But the finale is memorable, in my opinion, because Akaza is the first Oni who is understanding when to stop. The previous Oni tended to survive, you know, they tended to go on till their last breath, till their last chance, etc., etc. And you see that even if the body of Akaza is regaining its power and it's regenerating itself, suddenly, thanks to all these experience and thanks to the fact that even the dear people who lost their lives come back to say to Akaza, now it's time, Akaza, it's okay. You can rest now. You can come back to us and be happy for real. That means, on the other side, it's like as if Akaza's heart is contrasting Akaza's will, Akaza's power, Akaza's body. And there is the beginning of this fight against himself, instead of against Tanjiro, against Giyu. There is this inner fight that's starting. The body wants to keep fighting while the heart says, no, I'm tired. I want to go back to my people, to the people that I love and that I lost, and I can reach them now. It's the time to be happy. And this beautiful moment in which you see that Akaza can rejoin them, and all of them are telling them, you are strong enough, Akaza, you did a great job, and now welcome back home. And you see his wife, and you also see the master, and you see even his father. In those moments, it's very hard to not cry, let me tell you. And you really feel these moments, and you also appreciate Akaza, not just as an enemy, not just as an upper three, but you appreciate him as a character in general, because he overcame the limits that he had, the convictions that he had, in order to reach what he has always wanted to reach. That means happiness, even if it's not in this world, it's in the other one, but it doesn't matter, because the most important thing is that you reach it. So Akaza's character was very, very beautifully described. I really liked that. And then the movie finishes, let's say, because we understand that Tanjiro and Giyu defeated the upper three. And now it's time to go on. Finishing the movie with this standby, because of course all the other Ashira, they have to go on and fight. There is Kana still against these upper two that we still don't know what's going to happen. And I already told you, I hope that she will be helped by somebody else, maybe by the Rock Ashira, because I think she really needs him for sure. That's a good way to end, I think, because we need to go step by step. And somehow they found Muzan, because the son of the father of Ashira found him, thanks to the crows, but he's still so far away. And we needed to remember that he's also putting this kind of a cage, the doctor Oni. Do you remember the one who helped Tanjiro and even Nezuko? So not only they have to defeat Muzan, but they also have to save this Oni doctor. I call her Oni doctor, so you understand what I mean. So we will see. There are many details that I didn't tell you, like for example, the fact that you understand why Akaza, while using the Kikijutsu, he's making a sort of a snowflake on the floor with his posture, you know. It has a meaning, and it's all reconducting to his wife, because his wife had three snowflakes here as hairpins or something like that. That makes you understand, you know, and because that snowflake there that is represented on the ground, it's like as if it's a shield of a protection. It makes all sense, you know. The more you watch the movie, the more you understand Akaza's personality, Akaza's will, and Akaza's reason why he did what he did, even if he made a mistake, but nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes, so even Akaza is one of us. That's it. I think that I told you everything, but to summarize everything that I said, in few words, I can say great UFO table work. Watch it in IMAX. Enjoy the feelings that are conveyed thanks to the characters. Emotional moments, the music that is great. Ah yes, in the end of the movie you see that Aimer and Lisa are coming back for the soundtrack. I felt very, very happy about that, because Lisa is like as if she's closing a circle, you know. She was there for the first season and for the Infinity Train, but then she disappeared. It's like Linked Horizon for Shingeki no Kyojin. They were there at the beginning and then they came back for the ending. I think Lisa will do the same. I mean, in these three last movies, she will be there for the soundtrack. So I was happy to see her there too. But yeah, the music was great. The characters well described. The graphic is super amazing. The emotional moments are there. The action parts, the fighting, so they are unbelievably stunning, and you have everything. Colors, background stories, contrasts, everything. I mean, this movie has everything. So if you like Demon Slayer, you will definitely appreciate this movie. And if you have other questions, feel free to ask me. Of course, if they are spoilers, I will refrain myself to tell you everything, because I didn't tell you everything that I watched, but they were just things that I really, really liked to explain to you in order to let you understand what you're going to watch. Hope you enjoy the movie, and I suggest you to go and watch it for sure, because it really deserves, and I am very, very proud that Demon Slayer is beating the records of everything here in Japan. They are reaching already 26 billions N in 1 month. And I'm very happy for that, because you can see the effort that was put by all the UFO table stuff and all the people who from other studios who came to help UFO table in these. And the quality is high, everything is great, and no digression at the beginning, so you will enjoy 2 hours and 35 minutes of pure action, feelings, and losses. Yeah. Stay tuned for other videos to come in the future, guys. Thank you so much for the support, and see you in the next one. Go and watch it. Bye.